MangaKamen, it's dangerous to go up against two people alone. Here, take this sword, and also take my help.
Joner? I go by MangaKamen.
That's what I said, MangaKamen.
Hold on a second, why would you want to help me? Didn't you and your girlfriend already do a video on the Spoctor Theory drama?
Well, yes, but I do stand behind that video. I do think the guy's a creep. However, everything else they said about him was a little bit iffy at best. And one of the people we're covering is Pentagrin, and she's not the most reliable source of information.
Well, alright, fine, just two bots. Just a robot and Damn it all the hell, you got me doing it now!
Let's start off by talking about Pentagrin.
Pentagrin already took down the video.
No biggie, I got it right here.
Well, she also took her channel down.
Wait, really?
And her Twitter.
Oh shit.
I want to set this straight right now.
We will control the horizontal.
Dibs on diagonal!
This is a serious video on a serious matter.
Well, that doesn't mean we're gonna have fun covering it.
I'm not joking, this isn't some sort of prank, and it's something that has deeply disturbed me and a lot of the people I associate with. This behaviour is unacceptable from anyone, regardless of their popularity, and I'm sickened to think that I used to associate with and defend this individual. This video isn't monetised because I think it's too gross to monopolise a matter like this. I don't want this to become some kind of circus where people come forward and start making allegations without evidence. Those people do more harm than good.
No, instead people are going to make allegations with very flimsy evidence.
Foreshadowing!
Especially by invalidating those who were personally involved. Because this is such a sensitive topic, I will be putting comments under review.
Yeah, and you can also get rid of comments that disagree with you.
Well, I guess that's no longer an issue.
I know people like to make jokes and make light of these kinds of situations, but I don't think it's appropriate to do that here. Spoctor, I know you're not going to watch this, because you've admitted enough times to me and other people that you don't watch any critical videos about yourself, which is incredibly ironic. But if this video stops one person from endangering themselves by talking to you, then it's done its job.
If this video can show at least one person that you're an idiot that doesn't know what she's talking about, then it's done its job.
I knew you were a pervert from the beginning. The alarm bell started ringing when you asked young children and those older than you to draw you porn for a competition.
No, in that screenshot he's saying draw my character provocatively. He even said in the competition to draw his character in clothing.
No, not safe for work allowed. Was there a different contest? If there was, prove it. Actually going more in depth with the screenshot, seduction doesn't automatically equate to nudity. You can draw seductive artwork without it being, nude. Yes, seduction can be a part of the more explicit artwork, but the two are not mutually exclusive. If that were the case, then this picture of Android 21 is now nudity.
But I thought you had the sense and dignity to not go this far. You like to pretend you're some autonomous force that can't be reckoned with, and I have to laugh because everyone knew you were gonna slip up eventually. I just wish you didn't slip in the worst way possible.
Just off the top of my head, I can think of 5 worse ways to slip up. But at least he has the balls to stick around. As soon as you slipped up with this video, you deleted your channel, your Twitter, and you ran away. Honestly, you're nothing but a coward.
You like to act like a big man, but no big man sends nudes to someone who doesn't want them, someone who is already in a relationship, someone who's told you they're uncomfortable with the conversations you were having, and yet you still persisted to have those conversations.
There's a lot wrong with these issues, basically how the screenshots are being presented. When a friend of mine, FNGR, made a video on the matter and drew my attention towards this situation, I went to both Pentagrin and Atari's videos in order to see where the links for the screenshots were. Unfortunately, neither descriptions had the links to it. Oh, they had links to the special things, but I didn't see links to the actual documents. I didn't see links to the screenshots. I had to get the screenshots from FNGR's video. So, the drama changing did a better job of providing the sources of the screenshots. Bravo.
Okay, let's look at some of those screenshots. If you're gonna tell someone that they're making you feel uncomfortable, don't put a little blushy face. Instead of reading like, oh, you're making me feel uncomfortable, it reads like, tee-hee-hee, you're making me feel uncomfortable. But maybe it's not a blushy face, I don't know, I'm socially retarded. But at least show us a little bit more context. For all I know, they're just role-playing.
Not like this really matters because the person who claimed to have actually given these screenshots, stories, actually says this in her video about the subject. Which, by the way, her entire channel's gone. Yay.
Letting the evidence pile up on its own was one of the best decisions I could have ever made to help others. It's awful to have your idol that you looked up to expose themselves to you literally and figuratively and show who they really are. I don't feel bad for acting and letting him be a fucking idiot.
Evidence doesn't pile up on its own when you're going into conversation saying you're acting to draw out a response. You are actively lying to Spoctor, giving him the impression that you are okay with his actions and how he is talking to you, in order to get evidence against him. You are creating evidence under false pretenses. If I can make a legal comparison, this would be entrapment. Do you not see the issue here? By saying this and how you presented the screenshots, you are actively calling into question your credibility and subsequently anyone who uses these screenshots. Which, from what I understand, is about over 100 people. Ugh, dear Arceus, I've got a headache now.
You know who got in touch with me as well? Your ex.
Oh shit, guys! Stop the presses!
Stop the presses!
Someone is talking shit about their ex! The most reliable source of information about a person ever!
You know, your ex who you lied about on everyone's servers, making us ban them because you vaguely called them a blackmailer.
This screenshot proves nothing. It doesn't prove that he lied about being blackmailed. This is just him telling that he was blackmailed in the past. Do you have evidence to prove that he wasn't blackmailed? Or are you just going off with assumptions again?
You know what? You wouldn't need to worry about your ex blackmailing you if you weren't a fucking terrible partner to begin with. I had to apologise to them because I felt so guilty for banning them for doing nothing wrong but for hurting your fragile ego. I know someone's going to come out of the woodwork and criticise me for using private screenshots, which I understand is a bad move to make if you're doing this just to make someone look bad.
And if you look to your left, you'll see the definition of irony.
But I believe this is a more serious matter that people need to be aware of. This isn't an isolated incident.
Bruh, a 14-year-old can do it with a 16-year-old? Yes, they can! How is this a bad thing? Are they uncomfortable with it because you're not showing that?
Because I know more than 7 people have had similar issues pertaining to Spoctor, and that's not okay. This isn't just some kid getting into an argument and wanting to shame one another. No, no, no. This is someone tactily preying on people and using their popularity to intimidate them into not saying anything.
Pentagrin, are you a liar or just really bad at showing proof?
What was the point of those screenshots? They literally have nothing to do with what you're claiming.
He's not trying to silence someone with his fame. He's just bragging and that's about it.
It's non-contact sexual abuse in its rawest form. I also don't want to be the asshole who sits here and doesn't provide evidence and just expects you to believe me. And...
Too late. Yeah, because you've never done that before. Cough, cough, stories is 8. Cough, cough.
The evidence that we've gathered just happens to be these screenshots.
Well, that's pretty bad then.
So why am I involved if I haven't dealt with any of this firsthand? Because people who were emotionally manipulated by Spoctor have come to me asking for help. Regardless of how many subscribers I may have, I still share a lot of them with him, and I have to give these victims a voice.
Oh boy, we're using the term victim and perpetrator instead of the term accuser and accused. I just love it when people do that. All logic goes right out the window.
Alright, so you've given a few screenshots and right off the bat, this doesn't prove anything. This is just someone claiming that these events happened. Maybe this stuff happened, maybe it didn't. Wouldn't the people who are being talked about this be the ones to go to about it? I mean, if the person who gave you these screenshots is friends with them, then contacting these people would have been an easy thing to do and something you should have done in order to confirm the story.
I myself have had some very unsavoury run-ins with Spoctor, but the sexual abuse is paramount and should not be swept under the rug or overshadowed by petty things. You can still like his content. I don't want him to get a free pass to do this shit though, because he has more subscribers. He's already made it abundantly clear to a lot of us that he thinks he's better than us because of the amount of subscribers he has. Remember the way I managed to make you leave your own server, Spoctor, because I called you out on that? Yeah. I don't want people thinking that this is how relationships work. I don't want people thinking that this is acceptable in any circumstance. I want to say it right now that I want nothing to do with him in the future. Once this video goes up, he's blocked on all my accounts, he's gone from my life.
Yeah, and so is everybody else because you're completely gone now.
I want nothing to do with him or any of his close circle who will inevitably get involved. I know what he's like. He'll never admit anything publicly, and he'll always want to save face.
Well, he did admit to it, and in fact, I think he admitted to it when he didn't even do it.
And from what I've seen here, this entire video thus far is proving nothing that you claim to happen happened.
But even if everything you said about him is true, you did a pretty bad job of proving it.
He'll start shit and then hide and face no consequences. I'm calling it now. He's gonna go on a hiatus and not say anything about this. I'm not a forgiving person, and as someone who has been sexually abused in my real life in the past, I have no remorse for what I'm saying now, because I know this shit can drastically alter your perception on what a relationship should be like.
And this was the worst way you could go about it. Yes, making a video where there are obvious out-of-context screenshots, not providing a link to said screenshots, and not proving a ton of what you're saying to be actually true, and just showing allegations and things that have nothing to do with your points. That is the best way to go about this. Sarcasm!
Yeah, and I have no remorse for you because I've been falsely accused myself my entire life.
People shouldn't suffer in silence. People shouldn't be intimidated by someone just because they have a larger following than them. Because you know what?
Hey kids, who wants to talk about murder? As in, murdering your credibility. You see, Pentagrin, you cut off your response to Spoctor saying that he wanted to intimidate this art thief with you saying, and I quote, well, yeah, that's fair. And we can thank Atari for this because she provided the exact same thing, only she didn't cut that part out. If you agreed with his tactics at the time of this conversation took place, you don't get to play moral high ground and condemn him later. You approved of his tactics at the time. Now yes, people can change their mind, but when you're also willing to cut this out because it makes you look bad, this makes it a lot worse. Especially with your evidence in this entire video. This calls into question everything you've shown us. Why? Because if you're willing to cut out context in order to make yourself look good, then we have to call into question everything else you said in this video and the screenshots you provided. After all, if you're willing to cut context for this, who knows what other context you're willing to cut out?
That following can turn on you in the blink of an eye.
Oh god, the irony.
I've warned Spoctor that his obsession for porn will bring him down, and you know what he said? He said he stopped caring.
Oh my god, what is your problem with showing screenshots that don't prove anything? You can draw as much lewd stuff of my character as you want, okay? So? You're more of a purist than Mr. Enter, and I don't say that lightly.
That conversation has nothing to do with what you're saying. Him saying, I just stopped caring, is in response to you saying that you're not going to have any not safe for work channels to moderate. It's got nothing to do with his obsession.
I think that says a lot about a person when they stop caring about the legality and repercussions of their actions, and it paints a very bleak picture of them. You want to know what I don't care about, Spoctor? I don't care about you.
Oh boy, I don't care about this, but I deleted my channel over it. I think we should change the dictionary definition of not caring.
I'm about to short circuit here. So, Jar, do you still stand by your previous statements in that video of yours?
Kind of, but a lot less now. Let's cover the last video and then I'll make my decision at the end. Atari has the ratings and comments disabled. That's always a good sign.
Let me just talk and be real with you guys for a second. If you don't care, then by all means, please skip ahead to where I get into what this guy has done at whatever time is on the screen. But I just wanted to say a few things before I get started here. I don't consider myself a ranter. If you've been following me for a while, you may have noticed that all of my legitimate rant videos are gone.
So, you don't consider yourself to be a ranter, but you're doing a rant. Interesting. Yeah, Pentagrin said the exact same thing, and your videos came out on the same day, at the same hour. Almost like this is a coordinated attack against one person.
In the past few days, a couple of people have come forth telling me and others about their experiences with Spoctor Theory, who we've decided to keep anonymous. There was one who came forth talking about how Spoctor had developed feelings for them, sent them nudes, said gross things.
Well, let's read this damning evidence, shall we? Want a little secret? Sure, smiley face. Girls say pubes feel better when writing the D, people I've spoken with. Damn, never knew. It's tingly, and it gives a sensation. You can imagine it. Whew! Yeah. Well, he's being inappropriate, and that's about it. The other person doesn't seem to mind. And keep in mind he's a 16-year-old boy.
Literally told them that their boyfriend didn't have to know when they mentioned that they've been in a relationship themselves since November, and more.
Alright, as I already said, if he did send non-safe for work pics of himself, then that's illegal. But the screenshots you provided while talking about this don't actually prove that. The relationship stuff? Yeah, kind of a jerkish thing to do. But if you're the ones making the claim, then congrats, you're the ones who have to prove this. I'm not going to listen and believe to what people say about this without hard evidence. And it's rather sad that 100 people or so did.
I just realized something. The ranting community's evidence often falls apart if you just take 10 seconds to look at it. For your next video, why don't you talk about how I supported the Holocaust and put up a bunch of screenshots of me talking about Goku versus Superman?
Keep in mind that this person is a very young teenager. No matter how old they are, it still wouldn't make anything Spoctor did to them right. They didn't want the attention, and they most certainly weren't giving him an invitation to say and do the things that he did. They never consented to anything, and that still matters no matter how old you are.
Which, if they go by your screenshots, cut out a lot of context. I mean, as we already shown with Pentagrin's video, and how his Ponder has gone, there is a lot of shadiness behind these screenshots.
Okay, one, he never said in any of those screenshots that your boyfriend doesn't have to know, and you're not showing enough context again. What did he say after they said you're making me feel uncomfortable? Are they just role-playing? I have no idea!
This also counts as sexual child abuse. Non-contact abuse involves non-touching activities, such as grooming, exploitation, persuading children to perform sexual acts over the internet, and flashing. It includes—
I'm gonna be skipping most of this because Ponder did a way better job than I could ever do. But basically because Spoctor was 16 at the time, pretty much everything he did was A-okay, except for sending pictures of himself. I'll play this clip from Family Guy to explain it.
Chris sent an inappropriate photo of himself to one of his classmates.
Thank you for bringing this to our attention, Principal Shepard. We'll make sure Chris apologizes to that little knob tease.
I'm sorry, Lois, but it's not that simple. When Chris sent that picture, he was technically distributing child pornography. I'm sorry, but this makes Chris a sex offender.
Oh my God! I'm
So, he is also a child exploiter. This isn't the first time that this has happened either. There are 5 other accounts of people coming forward to us with evidence that Spoctor did the same stuff to them. I just thought that I should go ahead and put out there that this isn't the first time that he's partook in sexual misconduct. He dated someone before, doing the same stuff he did to the aforementioned person. Always said gross things.
You know what? I'm not gonna even read what Spoctor said. I'm just gonna read what the person said in response. Not really, XD. Sounds like a total victim to me.
Anyway, these screenshots only show him being creepy, nothing at all with what you just claimed him to be.
Kept begging one of their friends to draw not safe for work of their OCs, even after the 13-year-old artist said they were uncomfortable with it, and just kept saying and doing gross things, as you can see from these screenshots.
Okay, first you show a bunch of comments from Spoctor, but you don't show what the other person says, and in the next group of comments, all the person says in response is, yeah, lovely. This doesn't mean anything!
We got in contact with his ex, who had this to say.
I need to go do some research. Research? Smiley face, smiley face. Fuck off, I'm not reading the rest.
He was always constantly sexual towards me, and when I told him I was uncomfortable, he'd just go, but dating me will get you used to it. Then—
Oh, holy hell, this is the same thing as we just talked about in Pentagrin's video. And it's just as flawed as it was there. I don't want to repeat myself. I don't want to be a broken record.
Yeah, but this is just a statement from another person, so it really doesn't prove anything. And given the quote-unquote evidence we've seen so far, I'm gonna doubt this.
He kept constantly going up to me and my friends and be like, what's it feel like to be with a rancher like this? And how does it feel to be with someone 10 times more popular than you? When we met, I had they, them on my page, and not once did he call me by them when we dated. Instead of just correcting himself, he'd refer to me as it. So, as you can see, he's a gross, arrogant asshole who's also transphobic and has a record of doing this stuff.
Okay, you guys know that I often call trans people by their preferred pronouns. I call the CWC a her, Doodletones a her, Milo Stewart a he, and I even called Lily Pete by her preferred pronouns. But they and them really crosses the line for me.
In the screenshot you just provided at the top, whoever is telling you this clearly states, I don't want to say Spoctor's transphobic. If the person who's telling you this is saying that they aren't transphobic, why are you the one who gets to claim that he is? I mean, you're more than welcome to have your opinion, but if the person telling you this is saying that this stuff doesn't make him transphobic, I think they would have a little bit more credence since they're the ones who are experiencing this stuff.
He has this whole facade going on to make people think he's older. Voice changer, big adult lizard man talk sprite. He's never stated his age anywhere aside from to his friends, and yet no one questioned him for anything.
It's the internet. You don't have to tell anyone your age, with the exception of websites that request you to give your age. And even then, people can still lie about it. Also, yeah, it's called having a character. Much like I have a few characters on this channel, one of which is a drunk Scottish Griffin. It's called playing up a character.
Yeah, and I do that. I use a voice changer and I never showed my age. Are you going to be suspicious of me now? Or would you be less suspicious of me if I used a voice changer and told people I was 8?
Questioned him for what exactly? How he constantly endorsed not safe for work images of his OC. He literally held a contest where the entire premise was to draw seductive drawings of his OC.
Convenient how you ignore the fact that his contest says no porno, no explicit, or overly lewd nudity. Also, seductive doesn't automatically equate to nudity.
See, no one questioned anything. We'll get more into that later. And before we go on, let it be clear that I don't think using private screenshots in a callout is okay if you're trying to make the person look bad. However, this is a serious issue that has happened way more than once. This isn't just some petty friend drama or some kids arguing with each other. This is someone who's preying on people and using his sub count to intimidate others.
Yeah, you guys keep saying he intimidates people with his sub count, but all you've proven was that he brags about it a little. And you guys are also intimidating him. You're a bunch of people gaining up on one guy with a coordinated attack.
I'm also not going to just sit here and make claims with no evidence either. It is non-contact sexual abuse that people need to be aware of.
The deja vu is strong in this one.
But back on the topic of not safe for work, he endorses not safe for work drawings of his OC all of the time. All the time. He posted a DeviantArt status update to all his underage followers, linking his Fur Affinity page, stating that that was the place to send in your not safe for work drawings of his OC. He even also stated it in his Rick and Morty furry video.
Okay, so he's a horny 16-year-old.
Even then, once again, this is a general announcement, not directed at underage fans.
And his character is much older than that, so it's okay. Honestly, with how much of a purist you are, you make church moms look like motorcycle gangsters with Wolverine claws.
And if it's fan art, he can't really control what people draw of him.
Point is, he did all of this without ever mentioning his age. And what surprises me is how no one ever asked.
Really? You're surprised that no one asked his age? You do know that people can lie about their age on the internet. Hell, he could have said he was 10 years old and you people are so fucking stupid you would believe him. No, I'm not letting the stories is 8 thing go.
He's jeopardized a ton of artists by not telling them. They were distributing porn to a minor, which is illegal. Plus, he still isn't 18. He isn't an adult anyway, so he has no right to be asking for this stuff. Especially when most, if not the majority of his audience, are underage minors.
I know you've already been told this, but in order to be prosecuted for sending underage materials to people who are minors, you have to know their age. That's like when sites like YouTube, DeviantArt, Fur Affinity, they have age things. And if a person lies about their age on these sites, then technically the website cannot be held accountable. It's the same thing for other artists.
So what have we covered so far? Well, he's legally a sexual predator, a child exploiter, transphobic, sent nudes and said gross things to women and other non-consenting people, held contests for people to draw literal porn of his OC, and on top of—
And if you look to your right, you'll see someone who didn't actually prove these claims.
Shit out of those drawings without ever mentioning his age. I don't see how anyone can defend this.
Hello!
Yeah, anyone who disagrees with me is a meanie stinky poo-poo head.
I can understand people defending Birdie. I mean, I don't agree with it, but she is just a child who was too immature to know any better or know what she was getting herself into. Spoctor, on the other hand, I just can't defend him, and I don't know or foresee anyone who can or will after all of this.
Only just Ponder Sprocket, me, MangaKamen, and a few others.
And I'm not even halfway done with my points yet. So let's just go over the rest of these points one by one. He doesn't watch the videos made about him, and I guarantee that he isn't going to watch this or anyone's videos. He's just going to take a hiatus for a week and ignore it and come back and act like nothing happened, which is what he always does. For someone who expects people to take his criticism, he sure doesn't practice what he preaches.
This is kind of ironic because it's coming from a person who disabled their comments and ratings.
He doesn't pay his artists for his sprites. He was bragging on DeviantArt a few months ago about being the only person in the community to pay for his assets, when he never paid his artist who was literally only looking for exposure. He legitimately moaned for money on stream and got mad when people took him seriously. He posted, "I'm not moaning for money anymore" on DeviantArt one time, and I got hella confused over what that meant. So I asked him, and he admitted that he begged for donations on streams.
Whoa guys, a YouTuber is asking for money. You know, just like anyone who has ever set up a Patreon.
What does this money go towards? A fursuit that he also tried to beg to get for free. And let me tell you, as an experienced and basically professional cosplayer myself, I know how hard it is to make outfits, let alone huge entire fursuits. It takes hundreds and hundreds of dollars in effort and work and time to make them, and they aren't things you can make for free. I'm not a fursuiter, but I do know from experience that costumes are never cheap or easy to make. Expecting one for free and top-notch quality is not ideal.
What is the point of this? Why is this even in here? This is some really petty stuff.
Speaking of fursuits, he gives furries a bad name in general. He's literally what the community despises. Sexual predators and people who think that since they're pretending to be a lizard, they can get away with stuff like that just because they aren't part of the social norm. The furry community isn't centered around that and forcefully pushes people like him out of their community. He's also a hypocrite, believe it or not. He said a while ago that he was done with rant videos and videos that he always makes, and when the Toxikai shit happened, he made a video about it a day after the drama occurred in the same format that he always used.
But you're doing the exact same thing! You said you were done with rant videos, and then you came back! In fact, you're the one who's being a hypocrite, not him! The example you gave doesn't prove he's a hypocrite, just that he changed his mind! What's wrong with you?
He also endorses tracing, but got mad when someone traced a fan artist's work and sent it to him on Twitter.
That screenshot does not show him endorsing tracing. In fact, the screenshot actually proves the opposite. It's a little hard to read, but the screenshot has Spoctor saying, "This was traced." My man. Why'd you do that, frowny face? I think someone's been having too many special brownies. If you think that's endorsing tracing, then what are you smoking and where can I get some of that sweet hanky-danky kush?
He also sends his subscribers to attack people. What you see here is a link to a status update where he calls out an art thief and uses the phrase "intimidate" to get the artist to back off. I know that art thieves suck, but really man, just report the repost and move on. Sending people out after art thieves are only exposing them to more people whom they can then steal more art from.
Yeah, but could we also say you're doing the exact same thing? I mean, by your own stupid logic, you should just report him and move on. But instead, you're giving him exposure.
So what do we know now? He's a sexual offender, a transphobe, a child exploiter, begs for free not safe for work art of his OCs and heavily endorses it without ever disclosing the fact that he's a minor, held a contest for people to draw not safe for work art of his OC, begged for a free fursuit, gives furries in general a bad name, moaned for money on a live stream, is a hypocrite, sends his subscribers to attack people, ignores any and all videos made about him, and doesn't pay his...
You know, there's an old saying, repeat a lie enough times and it'll eventually become a true. And wouldn't you know, looking at the reaction to all this,
there's probably so much more that I'm missing, and we also aren't even done with this video yet. Still don't know how people will be able to defend any of this.
Oh, this is gonna bite you in the ass.
And the "he's just a child" excuse doesn't justify it. He's 17, he knows what he's doing, he's gonna be an adult next year. Adult or not, it doesn't excuse all that he's said and done, I hate to break it to you. I'm sure that everyone is wondering by now what my experience with Spoctor has been like. All I can say is that we hardly ever spoke and only got together to discuss small, mediocre YouTube things. I mean, one time he called my server at the time self-righteous.
No! He called you self-righteous? Why would anyone say that about you?
And also told me on another occasion that I didn't know how YouTube worked.
Okay, enough.
And the rest of the video was just her repeating herself. So what are my final thoughts? Honestly, I really regret the video I made. I no longer think Spoctor is a creep. If he was making people feel uncomfortable, then they really should have spoke up about it. And the majority of the information about him either comes from his ex, always a reliable source, or stories. You know, that person who lied about their own age. Honestly, I think people should just stop believing what Stories says. She's nothing but a lying bitch. The only reason why I made a video on Spoctor is because he made a video saying what he did was wrong. But now I think he just made that video just to get people off his back. I've admitted to being wrong when I thought I was right just so people would leave me alone. But you should never ever do that. It makes things worse.
I'm the kind of guy who doesn't like doing final thoughts, but for this one, I do need to speak up on the matter. I don't know Spoctor. I don't have a horse in this race. What drew me to this was how it was presented. Why? Because I've seen how this is done correctly, and in recent time. People who are more familiar with my channel are aware that I used to do a lot more MLP stuff in the Brony community. And the moment I say that, a lot of you are probably already thinking exactly what I'm about to reference. Yes. The Toon Critics situation. Now, while I didn't make a video on the subject back then, as I felt everyone had said, shown, and had done enough to prove their own points, was enough. However, the situation did affect me in a way, a big way. But you know what I can say about the Toon situation, how it was presented and how it was proven to be true? Uncut screenshots were shown. People who came out were actually backed up what they were saying with no doctored screenshots. And to top it off, a group of people actually got Toon Critics' side of the story about these allegations. Yes, Toon admitted to all the allegations being true. But here, you people barely proved a thing. You didn't get his side of the story, and you went with some of the most petty things to complain about. Stuff that shouldn't even be brought up in situations like this. You guys did the bare bones of things you could do with this situation. You acted like these allegations were true, when there were times that you should have questioned them. You should have looked at the screenshots. You should have investigated further. This is a very serious subject, as you two alluded to, but from where I'm standing, you two did a bad job of this. And what made this situation worse, hundreds of people were making videos just parroting what you said. I understand that YouTube is like that. I really do. But it baffles me how no one bothered to look into this situation further. I understand these issues are serious, but that's more reason to look into allegations with a skeptical mind and not just listen and believe. And I know that Atari and a few other people have actually made, edits to their descriptions of their videos. That's good. I appreciate that. And I'm sure a lot of people do. But this was still a situation that could have been avoided, or a situation that could have been handled so much better.
I'm gonna say something I've never said to someone I did a video on. Spoctor, I'm sorry. I truly regret the video I did on you. And to anyone else who made a video on him, you should also make a video apologizing. Thanks for letting me on your channel, MangaKamen. And if you want to check out my second channel, link to that will be down below. I highly recommend you go check out my video on what if you could use Key, where I convert the food energy gives you into pure energy. And yes, my main channel is still hacked.
I'm Kamen. Have a nice day.
Live!